The jewels are right there. Okay, we're almost there.
Sir, why are we doing this?
Shut the hell up, okay? And watch out for the tile, because if you step on that, 69 gold bars are going to fall from the sky, and I don't have enough Apple gift cards to pay for your medical bills. So watch out!
Okay.
Come.
Have you eaten?
Well, did you say something?
No, you told me shut the hell up.
So then...
Have you eaten, my king? Have you eaten?
Have you eaten, my king?
The what?
The scammers. It's the spirit of the scammers. They know we're trying to get the jewels. We just have to...
My king, have you eaten?
Go! Forget this! Go!
ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Within 5-6 minutes, she calls me hysterically crying, screaming.
A
that
Pomona
coffee?
woman scammed out of her life savings and precious jewelry after meeting two strangers on the street. Welcome back. I'm Mark Robles in for Mark Brown.
I'm Giovanna Lara. Now that woman and her daughter want to make sure no one else falls victim to this scam.
Hold on, Giovanna and Mark. Can we just immediately point out that when people say the streets ain't safe, we're no longer talking about dating. We're talking about scammers. I've never seen such BS or heard it. So please enlighten me, because I'm very much confused already. I know of scammers being like those fake tour guides and stuff like that. How do they take your jewelry? Unless this is some kind of Facebook marketplace nonsense.
Frustrating. We first heard this story after receiving a tip from an Eyewitness News viewer. New at 5 Eyewitness News reporter Rob McMillan explains how the con artists were able to pull off the theft.
Hold on a second. I know this is a 3-minute video. Maybe you're short on time on the actual news show, but goodness me, you started spitting bars there. Please, I got big ears. They look like elves' ears, but that doesn't mean you can speak that fast.
No tenemos nada.
A Pomona woman in tears, saying she was swindled out of her life savings, now left with nothing. The woman's daughter also feels guilty, saying she wishes she'd done more before it was too late.
Now that I look at it, I'm always like, I should have stopped it.
Paula Perez says the thieves stole about $29,000 in cash, plus thousands of dollars in jewelry.
She wanted to do like a kind thing for someone.
What?
And we're all just like in shock.
The victim...
Just hold on there, Mr. Swanky businessman looker here. Doing something nice for someone shouldn't result in you losing your life savings and your jewelry. Like, I don't care what the reason here is. If there's a crazy circumstance where you have to provide for potentially a family member for a very traumatic experience, I get it. But I don't understand who you're giving this money to when it concerns strangers, essentially.
Says it happened Thursday morning when she was walking southbound on Indian Hill Boulevard.
What?
She says she was approached by two women, one asking for help finding an immigration office, the other saying she'd won a large sum of money but needed someone with legal status to get it.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Wait, sorry, but they've taken the typical email scam. Hey, you've for some reason been chosen and selected to win a large sum of money from a random beneficiary in a different country because they've died, and brought it to the streets. What? What?
The victim eventually got into a silver Prius and took them to her home.
Just before anyone starts chatting more shit, yeah? What happened to the days of our parents telling us, don't get into strangers' cars, don't talk to strangers, blah, blah, blah. But now all of a sudden, when a stranger approaches you and they are looking for someone to give large sums of money to, randomly it's you. Because that's a normal occurrence, isn't it?
Parent tells you, don't go with strangers, you know? It was unusual. She said that she didn't know. She just felt like,
I just said that.
in a way, persuaded just to go in the car.
And
No.
there was a catch.
They needed for someone to have $60,000 because they didn't want to feel threatened again because they've been robbed before, like when they try to claim money.
They say that's when one woman claimed to have already fronted half the cash. Surveillance video showing the victim walking up to her Pomona home to get her share of the money.
Sorry.
I noticed that her eyes were red, her face was red, like she had been crying, but she was happy. So that's what was weird.
Bress says her mom left with the cash and jewelry and got back in the car.
Listen to me now. This is way past being scam savvy, okay? This is quite literally, you've got zero common sense about you. Because, one, you're getting into a stranger's car. I don't know when this exact story took place, but this video was uploaded around 10 days ago, so it's 2025 by my accounts, if they're correct. If you are getting into a stranger's car that's not an Uber, and might I add, even Ubers sometimes are creepy and shady AF. You're getting into a stranger's car, you got no idea what's going on. They proceed to drop you off home, so now they know your address anyway. Then you go into your home to get money and jewelry, and then get back into the stranger's car with said large amount of money. Where is it computing that this is normal? Like, even if it's not a scam, right? You're getting robbed, surely.
Mom came back, the women apparently telling her she needed to get a utility bill or something to verify who she was.
And they just drove off.
Which she did. But it was all a ruse to get her out of the car so they could take off.
I'm sorry once again. I think this is stating the obvious, but not only have you got in the car with said jewelry and money, you've left it... You've left it in the car with them. And you don't know who they are. You've left...
What the is going on in here on this day?
I'm sorry to the neighbors who might think something erotic has happened to my booty hole there. But honestly, I well and truly feel effed even just listening to this. Because this cannot be real. This cannot. I'm sorry. Where's the common sense? This isn't scam savvy anymore. You're a fool. I'm sorry. It's very traumatic. I completely understand this. But in God's name, what are you doing leaving any amount of money in a stranger's car?
Within 5-6 minutes, she calls me hysterically crying, screaming. I was barefoot. I run out barefoot. She tells me they stole everything. They left with everything.
Editing Age chiming in. I find it very interesting that potentially she did not let her daughter know that she was about to give random people this large sum of money and jewelry. Because I can't see a world where she says this and the daughter's like, yeah, that's fine. Go do that. I'm so confused. So that's why earlier on the daughter feels like she could have done more. But I don't think the mother told her. Which is, I don't know. Just lying, I guess? I don't get it. Bro, like...
They've reported the theft to Pomona police, who are investigating.
What are they gonna do?
Meantime, they have this message for others.
Be more cautious.
Really?
Don't trust people who just walk up,
Oh,
no matter how
thanks.
nice they may seem or friendly they may seem. Just
Like, I'm sorry once again. This is obviously traumatic. And I don't mean to piss on any traumatic bonfires here. But I feel like her giving this advice, it's just insulting to people's intelligence. But unfortunately, it very well seems some people need to hear such a thing.
you know, the best thing to do is just like ignore them and walk away.
In Pomona, Rob McMillan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
I can't
Hello,
believe.
I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel. And download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
God, he was listing off so many different TVs that one of them surely has to give me a sponsorship. I'll take even Roku, okay? Sponsor me! Even though I ain't got a Scooby, what the hell you are. I've just heard it before. Honestly, I don't think I need to add anything more to this. Like, this isn't a video where H can ramble on for too long and extend the length of this to just inconceivable lengths to which you're wondering, how have you done this to a 3-minute video, you rat boy? I don't know, but I'm going to hold my hands up here and say honestly, I don't think it gets more foolish than this. Like, of course it does, but this is up there with one of the most foolish scam victims ever. Like, maybe I can somewhat understand through email a beneficiary has left you money. Maybe I can understand that. On the street, someone just approaches you. You leave the money in the car? What the? I'm gonna go look at the comments on the original video. I think they are tearing her a new one. That's what I presume. But as usual, of course, I'll pick some out. We'll talk about things. Like, gosh, I'll see you in a second. Tantalizing talk time. A lot of comments seemed to be confused on what was actually going on in this. However, I think it's important to firstly address greed was her downfall. Now that ties in to what is going on here, because usually these beneficiary type scams are that someone has left a large amount of money for one reason or another. Doesn't have to be that someone's perished. However, they need you, because they've selected you for some reason, to pay a certain amount of money, maybe in this case to sign documents or something, but in most cases there's a consignment box or a lock box you need to buy, or there's a key that you need to unlock a safe, some kind of BS that needs you to send money to them to get the process of sending across the beneficiary money to you. So that's what the scam is. Editing age here, very quickly. I think I've described beneficiary type scams in general, but I think in this particular case, I think these two women needed her to help them sign some kind of document, and she would eventually get a cut of whatever money these two women were coming into. It is a bit confusing. So I think that's the scam, but still doesn't excuse the craziness of it all. So the greed being her downfall, it is entirely true. You're walking on the street, someone approaches you, you're going to get a large amount of money. For some reason, it's your lucky day. And she thought, oh, this is too good to be true, right? I can't pass up this opportunity. Yes, it's too good to be true. You should have passed up on this opportunity. But I just need to stress, even if there was a slither of a chance this was real, right? Let's play devil's shitting advocate. I'm not holding the devil's hand. I don't know where I was going with that. Okay. The devil's there, basically, in front of me. We're having a chat. Devil's advocate. I'm his lawyer. That's what I was leading up to. Anyway, if there was a chance this is real, why are you leaving the money in this person's car? Insane. Next up, we have someone by the name of Jim Bob. Incredible name. I can guarantee you Pomona police aren't looking into it. Look, we have to say 99%. We have to throw in the greatest word in the English dictionary.
Allegedly.
I don't think they're looking into it. More often than not, I don't think police on the ground level, in terms of like, we're not talking FBI and stuff, we're just talking patrolman, whatever. I'm not sure they can do much. Realistically, we didn't even get the person's like license plate in that footage. How are they gonna find them? They probably freaking dived headfirst into the sea with all the money. That's what I'd do, right? If I get that much money in such a short amount of time, I ain't sticking around. So, I'm not incriminating myself. I'm just saying, potential authorities watching this. But prove me wrong, find them, I guess. The next comment is an interesting one, and to be honest, I might be on the fence sitting with the people on this side who say this. This whole story reeks of BS. It makes no sense. Something is off. And to be honest, I can't believe this was greenlit to air. To be honest, there's a whole bunch of shit on TV. I'm surprised 99% of things are, greenlit to air. However, I think I mentioned in the main reaction portion, it's just strange. It's all a bit too weird, right? I'm sorry, I do not believe that someone not only is going to believe such a story, which, okay, they might, but then you leave the money and the jewelry in the car with this random person whilst you go inside, knowing damn well you ain't the Flash, right? If they drive away, you ain't catching them, so why have you left it in there? I don't believe, I cannot fathom someone is that lacking in common sense. But if this is a real story, oh my goodness, the world is cooked. Okay? Next up, following along from that comment, I think the mother and the daughter are the real scam artists here. Now, once again, I must include the greatest word in the English dictionary for this.
Allegedly.
But I would love to know everyone's thoughts. It does seem a bit fishy. I don't expect the daughter to also be crying her eyes out, but to me, I don't really think it seemed like she was all too bothered that entire life savings were lost. But that could be just me, and, I've just got very poor body reading skills. Body language reading skills. But let me know your thoughts, please. Now, the next two comments, as much as I think this story just stinks of just shittiness, and the victim, if this is real, is an absolute fool, I draw the line in the sand at when people become bigoted towards anyone, right? Next time, cool, ICE, she can't even speak a word of English. Is she here illegally? Was she trying to launder drug proceeds? Why so much cash? Very fishy story. Let's get ICE involved. Can I just put this out there into the world? There are too many racist comments nowadays on videos that you just wouldn't expect it, right? And it's concerning that nobody can... I say nobody, that's obviously hyperbole, right? But it's concerning at how many people seem to not be able to give an opinion on something without resorting to bigotry. And once again, the world is cooked for a very different reason this time. The next comment is an interesting one. I'd love to know everyone's thoughts. If your life savings were 35k at that age, then you've be bigger problems, my friend. Honestly, she shouldn't be that upset. She's got B bigger problems, not A bigger problems. Aha! So funny. But I just need to ask everyone, is 35k savings at that age bad? I mean, everyone's financial circumstances are different growing up, and, maybe she's struggled to find work in the past. We don't know her full story, right? So I wouldn't say she's got bigger problems, but then again, I don't know her, I don't know her life. Let me know in the comments, objectively anyway, is 35k at that age bad? I don't have a clue. And then lastly, not to incriminate, of course, my potentialness self again, because words, all her life savings to give it to strangers you met 5 minutes ago. That is why scammers don't quit. It's too easy. Pretty much. Like, if you strip the moral aspect away from scamming, we all know you're a sack of shit for scamming, right? But look how much they can get in such a short amount of time. Honestly, I understand why they don't quit, right? Being objective, the amount of money in such a short amount of time. Of course, we can say, don't scam, it's bad, etc., etc. But these people obviously don't give a shit, because look at how much they're able to make, in quotations, in such a short amount of time again. Like, honestly, the mind boggles. Honestly, I'm not saying I'm going to be a scammer. Bloody potential authorities watching this, okay? Because I just couldn't fathom trying to even sleep at night after that, right? If me and my mom get into an argument, maybe I raise my voice a little. Honestly, I'm shitting myself. I feel like I've broken her heart or something. I couldn't do this to people. But the bastards who are able to do this, I think I've mentioned before, why would they, or I think I've asked, in what world, right? Actually, let me catch my thoughts. I don't know what I'm saying.
Stop it. Get some help.
I've mentioned before that you have to understand, I guess, that whilst we see it as immoral, in certain scammers' situations in their life where perhaps they are living in poverty or they are having financial difficulties, and I know other people as well, right? I'm not excusing it because there's other people in this world who are also living the same life but have morals. That's the key distinction here, right? It's difficult for them to, I guess, get a real job, quote unquote, when they see how much money they can get from people in such a way so quickly. Does that make sense? It's you have to understand this is why they don't stop. Like, unless a scammer flips a switch morally inside of them, they're just not gonna stop. Like, scams get into the millions and millions. Donnies have taken 35k in like 6 minutes of work, quote unquote. I'm gonna go because I'm actually getting angry now. I'm starting to sweat and everything. Let me know if you've learned something from this. I hope you've learned at the very least to not leave even $1 in a stranger's car because you'll get robbed of that $1. If you guys want to see more romance scam stuff, I'll chuck it up there, which this wasn't even romance scam. But if you want to watch the other type of scams, something's down there. Bye. No, genuinely, this is actually one of the most ridiculous scam stories I've ever heard.